So Jean, she doesn't say where she lives or what part of the country she's from. She says, I've noticed I'm staying up a lot later at night. Not sure if it's from intermittent fasting. Perhaps I have more energy or something, and sometimes it's hard to wind down. Right now, it's after 1 a.m., and a few nights I was up till after 3 and could not fall asleep until around 4 or 5.
So I would say that, that's a sign of adrenal stress. Mm-hmm. And now she said she's intermittent fasting.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when you start intermittent fasting, it could be a stress to your adrenals. So one of the ways your body tries to get energy is through stress hormones like cortisol and epinephrine and norepinephrine to try to break down your muscle tissue and your fat tissue to create energy.
Okay.
So sometimes when people start fasting, if they've already got stressed adrenals to begin with, now they may have other issues. They may have, heavy metal toxicities. They may have, food sensitivities, gut dysbiosis. They may have other things that are stressing the adrenals, and then they try to fast on top of it. So sometimes you have to kind of heal the adrenals and then start slow with the fasting. But that's something that doesn't get talked about a lot with fasting. Is the negative aspect of it is that sometimes you can kick into those hormones, and then your sleep patterns become off.
Yeah, and I would say one of the things about intermittent fasting is that everything in your body, when you're intermittent fasting, it's almost like double fold. Meaning, if you're just eating regular, like every 2 or 3 hours, like the typical American diet, and then you have caffeine. When you have that caffeine, it affects you one way, right?
Yep.
But like, for example, for me, because I do intermittent fasting, or the days that let's say I decide to do a 24-hour fast, or something like that, or even a longer fast. If I drink caffeine on those days that I'm intermittent fasting, it's double.
Yes.
It's double or triple the effect because the food, I don't have the food to like absorb any of that. So that's part of the issue too, is that even if she's only having, a cup of 1 or 2 cups or half a cup or whatever she's saying, the effect of that is double. That's number one. Number two, I never have a problem sleeping. I am like, when I hit the sack, I am like done. But I also work out 5 to 6 days a week.
Yep.
And so I don't know if she's working out, but like that will get you to get your body to kind of relax. I would suggest her doing even walking to kind of get her back on sleep. So I would say to really cut back on that caffeine, number one.
I would, even the green tea. So even your teas, they have a different type of caffeine cousin, but that can even stimulate. So only the caffeine free, not decaf. So caffeine free herbals are fine, no caffeine whatsoever. But also just look at maybe cutting your fasting down to like a shorter window instead of maybe jumping into it too fast. And then there may be some other issues with the adrenals, but magnesium is another big easy thing. Yeah, just simple answers.
There's something that I drink that helps me poop too. I haven't been. Yeah,
magnesium's great for that as well.
Yeah, it's called Calm.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that? That Calm drink.
Popular.
It really is good for that. So there's a product. I'll put that on my Things I Love page. So we just have to remember to do that and take a picture of that and put that on.
But simple things be magnesium, and then like theanine, which is also a chemical that's in green tea that you can get a supplement for. But
what
those are just
about
simple
melatonin?
Things. I'm not a huge fan of melatonin. The only time I use melatonin is for when you're coming back and forth from different time zones. So like if you're like in California for a week and you come back, take some melatonin an hour before you want to go to bed to reset your clock. But sometimes I'll recommend really low doses, like half a milligram for a little while, but only just to kind of get your clock started to get you falling asleep. But it's not going to keep you through the night. And I would definitely
say I would try to wean yourself off of this stuff that you're taking just slowly. Whatever you're doing, I think the best way to do it is to just, if you're taking some kind of drug and you want to wean yourself off, the best way to do it is as slow as possible. Cutting that pill if you can in half, or cutting it in 3/4 and then a half and then 1/4 and so.
But that's also where there's a lot of things that you can do on your own, but that's where maybe sometimes getting some help.
Yeah.
And that's where having a good functional doctor can say, okay, here's, you're doing some of the right things, and maybe the things you're doing are right, but you're missing just a couple pieces of the puzzle, and maybe get someone to help you out.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this week's podcast preview. Now don't go anywhere. This was just a little taste of last week's show. You can check out the full episode with so many more of your intermittent fasting questions by clicking the link down there in the show notes. Also remember, if you enjoy the podcast, it would mean the world to us for you to leave a review on iTunes to get this podcast out to other people that may have the same questions that you do. And as always, if you have a question that you want answered, email those to questions@chantelrayway.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.